What is up? Hope you guys are doing well.
Another day, another dollar.
Just got back from the gym, ate my post-workout meal. We were just gonna wait for Zach. Topic of the day for today is just gonna be delayed gratification. There we go.
Hey, what's up, bro?
What
Can you hear
happened?
me?
What happened?
Dude, I took a trip out to the desert and I just kept feeling my beard. I'm like, this thing feels like an old growth, like it feels like an old toenail. And so I came back and I cut it off and now we're here, man. So maybe the man bun will come next, but I'm thinking I'm gonna hold on to it for a little bit longer.
How do you feel about it? Like how smooth your face is right now?
Dude, it feels weird. Like I feel like a child, but at the same time, like when I was growing my beard, I had no strategy. I didn't have a game plan. It was literally just like I'm not shaving my face
Yeah.
for however long I can go. Like I didn't trim it or anything, so it really was just kind of nasty. Um, but it feels good, man. Yeah, I can't complain.
Man, I'm gonna have to grow up my beard soon.
Yeah, let's do it, man. And then when I cut my hair, we'll look like brothers.
All right, there we go.
Good stuff,
But
man.
I kind of want to just get into the topic, right? So delayed gratification. I know you had a lot to say to this. I talked. I listened to your podcast, and I heard you talk about it with Chad, and I was like, yeah, I know exactly how you feel, just because of through fitness. That's when I started learning more about delayed gratification. I think it's really, really. I think everyone knows to some extent that holding off now will give you like a better future. And I think when I actually experienced it with fitness, that's when I started seeing, okay, like this should actually work. And once you experience it firsthand, I think you could put into all aspects of your life.
Absolutely, man. So I actually think that there's three main areas of life in which we want to achieve greatness in, and these areas of life are kind of the basis in which people achieve like really good fulfillment.
Yeah.
And I say that the three areas is your health, it's your wealth, and it's your relationships. Not just your relationships with other people, but the relationships with yourself, and especially the relationships that you have with a significant other.
Hmm.
Now, achieving greatness in all three of these areas will bring you insane fulfillment. But in order to achieve that really like satisfying fulfillment out of life, small sacrifices, and you have to practice delayed gratification, right? Because think about your health. If you want to have a healthy body, you have to practice making small sacrifices that's instant gratification, like the cheeseburger or the french fries or the pizza. That will bring you instant gratification, but it will actually move you further and further away from achieving greatness in your health, which is going to, in turn, down the road, lead to, unfulfillment.
Hmm.
Same thing with your wealth, right? If you spend every paycheck on, I don't know, shoes or clothes or what might bring you instant gratification, like it will make you happy in that moment. You'll get that instant gratification, but long term, if you don't make that sacrifice and you don't practice delayed gratification, your bank account's going to look like poo poo. You're going to be in a lot of debt, and you're
Hmm.
going to be extremely unfulfilled in that area. So,
Hmm.
and then last thing is your relationships too. If and this is something that I struggled with in the past as well, is like you want the instant gratification of like talking to a bunch, and I'm going to be speaking about this in like terms of like a wife and husband relationship, not just a relationship with yourself. But like imagine that you constantly want the quick instant gratification of like talking to someone new and that exciting like warm feeling. Well, when you're 30 years old and you haven't found anybody to settle down with, you're going to be extremely unfulfilled. Whereas if you put off that instant gratification and worked on the harder stuff and delayed the gratification with your relationship, well, then when you're 30 years old, you're going to have a really awesome, healthy body. You're going to have really healthy financial statements, and you're also going to have a really awesome relationship. And so I always remind myself that the most fulfilling things in life need to be put off by practicing delayed gratification and sacrificing the instant gratification, because right now all that dopamine might feel good by getting the pizza, buying the new shoes, and flirting with a bunch of girls, but later down the road when you're 30 years old, you're going to have absolutely nothing, comparing yourself to the guy who kept his body in check, who saved that money and also invested into his relationships. That's kind of like what I go off of when it comes to delayed gratification.
No, exactly. Because especially now, dude, like in today's generation, which obviously I am a part of, I am very much aware of this, how everything now is like instant, instant, instant. Whether if it's like, let's say, you want groceries instantly to your door, like same day, fast food, whatever, even like a TV from Amazon, it's going to be there in like the next day, right? So everything is like instant. And especially with social media as well, also a form of instant gratification. When people are stressed out or sad, people want that instant cure, which is like, alcohol or drugs, right? Everyone wants that. And I think instant gratification is a pretty big problem in our time, because it's always been a problem, obviously, but I feel like now it's like even more just because of our technology.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, so if you think about it, like this could be applied in all aspects, right? Like we talked about, finances, food, physical pleasures, you know, and just everything. Like as for your finances, like not constantly buying stuff, so you can save for your future, you can invest for your future. And for food, like not eating the cake for a better physique later. That's when I experienced it firsthand, when I was when I was a little bit younger. And just fitness, working out daily, looking at yourself in the mirror, like you're putting in the work every single week, but you're not going to see it like in a week, this, right? Like you're going to have to wait. Like I'm 5 years now, like I'm only reaping the rewards now with my physique, because instant gratification, well, delayed gratification, I would just put in the work every single day, and then just for a better future, I knew that. And at the end of the day, we all do this to some extent. If you think about it, we all do this to some extent, like just trying to find that dopamine hit when you are like stressed, sad, whatever. And something that changed my mind and taught me to become more aware of this just concept. I think that's the first step to kind of overcoming it too. Being aware of the actual, okay, like your own actual habits, seeing yourself, and then seeing, okay, like, am I looking for instant gratification? And I think fitness really taught me that whole thing.
Dude, so I actually think that instant gratification is something that we can't escape from no matter how
Yeah.
hard we try. What we need to do actually instead is to create a process in which instant gratification is like encourages our goals rather than takes away from them. And so you kind of need to reverse engineer the process of instant gratification and replace one instant gratification with a different kind of instant gratification that will also help you hit your delayed gratification goals. And a really good example of this is getting a fitness coach, for example. Well, whereas what would have been instant gratification hitting the donuts or hitting the pizza, instead, you can get instant gratification by telling your coach, hey, this is what I did today. I actually put the donuts down, or I put the pizza down, and your coach says, hey, great job. You did an amazing job. Like, give you a pat on the back. And then all of a sudden you get a different kind of instant gratification that gives you that same dopamine hit, but it's also in line with your goals. So I really do think that when it comes to our big goals that need delayed gratification, we still need to utilize instant gratification in our day-to-day process. For example, with my business, I have big goals that are not going to happen for the next 6 to 12 months, right? And so I need to create a process in which I can get instant gratification every single day on the way up to that big goal, right? And for me, it's like, helping one person every single day. That's going to give me instant gratification in the process every single day that will eventually lead up to that big 6-month goal. So for, fitness coaching, for example, a way that you can reverse engineer this from the client or the coach is, instead of making it about the goal, let's say that you want to lose 10 pounds, instead of making it about the goal, fall in love with the instant gratification of the pump you get in the gym, or the sweat that you get in the gym,
Yeah.
or like just having one good day. That will give you that instant gratification that you need on a daily basis, that will in turn lead up to that delayed gratification, which is going to make you extremely fulfilled.
Enjoy,
Right?
enjoy the journey.
Yep. Enjoy that. And just falling in love with the process. That's really what's going to,
Yeah.
give you the instant gratification on the day to day.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that's how it is for you too. Like, since you know, a lot of people, I know, I hear this on your stories a lot. A lot of people, clients with you too, telling you that, oh, dude, like you're working so much, you're working your ass off. But it's like the reason why you're working your ass off with no problem, it's because you fucking love what you do. You're enjoying the journey. You love what you do. This is why, you know, obviously your business is very successful, and this is why, you know, you're just like happy and working every single day without like, you know, I know a lot of people who work just like, you know, 9 to 5s, working just like 8 hours, and then they fucking hate it. They feel drained. And then I know also a lot of people like you, who work like 12, 15-hour days sometimes. And then you still fucking love what you do. You enjoy the day. That's because you enjoy the journey, right? You learn how to fall in love with the journey. And I feel like with whatever you do, I think that's really the key to actually succeeding in what you do. Because if you're constantly looking at somebody, like let's say for a weight loss client, right? For example, for me, if they're constantly like looking at the scale, for example, they have like 60 pounds to lose, you know, they're so focused on that goal, they're gonna be demotivated. They just see, oh shit, I only lost a pound this week, right? Or I didn't even lose a pound this week. But once you start falling in love with the journey, I always tell this to all my clients, once you start falling in love with the journey, the progression in the gym, how strong you're feeling and everything, that's when you're going to actually see the results, you know?
Yeah. Dude, when you do things as a means to an end, there's a timer, right? If you were like, let's say if I wanted to, you know, get a specific physique goal, right?
Yeah.
And let's say that I wanted to lose 15 pounds. If I did something every single day that I did not like genuinely enjoy doing, I would have a very short fuse for how long I can last getting to that goal. It might be 4 weeks, it might be 6 weeks, it might be 8 weeks, it might be 12 weeks, but eventually I am going to hit a burnout point and crash.
Yeah.
What people need to do is actually fall in love with the process of every single little detail. Because if you go into the gym and you ask the buffest person, like, what makes you different than the people who aren't, is because they love being in the gym every single day. Like, you don't just love getting the results. You love cooking your meals. You love, you know, preparing your food. You love, you know, going into the gym. You love taking your pre-workout. You love every single part of that process.
Yeah.
And that's what carries you through. That's what gives you that instant gratification that eventually gets you to that delayed gratification. So something I would encourage people to do is, if you have a big goal that you want to achieve, let's say that you want to lose 20 pounds or you want to start a business, well, discover, okay, what is it about, you know, getting to that goal that I need to do every single day, and how can I fall in love with that process? If I hate eating healthy, well, how can I look at healthy food and change my perspective and start to appreciate healthy food? How can I go into the gym and start to appreciate moving my body? How can I, you know, start to appreciate going to sleep, so that way you can start learning to love the process? And the same thing with business too. If you guys didn't know, I helped Francis start his business, and he's, you know, gone off to do really amazing things. But if you're looking to start a coaching business, it's the same thing. What do I need to do every single day in order for me to get to this delayed gratification goal? And okay, like, cool, I need to make sales. How can I how can I start to fall in love with sales? How can I start to fall in love with content? Because the person who is going to love what they're doing is going to do it every single day, no matter what, because they get the instant gratification from the work. Something I will say is, like, when I was in high school and I was starting my fitness career, I would go to school, you know, all day long, and then I would have to go home and do my homework, and it was like 7, 8 p.m. at night. And as much as I would want to go play video games, my love for training outshined my love for playing video games. And so I would go work out, not because I wanted to get to the goal, because I loved the actual action. I appreciated eating healthy. I appreciated working out, which eventually led to building up the physique that I have today. And also the same thing happened with my business too.
Yeah, dude, I totally relate, just because I know this from experience. Like, even when I was in high school, I would have friends, nothing wrong with them, but like I would have friends, and then I would be hanging out with them after school, and I knew I had the gym after. And then a lot of the times they would be telling me, dude, like, you can skip today. It's okay. Right. I would tell them, like, no, I can't. Like, that's like a non-negotiable for me, just because, yeah, like, I like hanging out with my friends, but when you have goals, when you have priorities, and you just like keep your mindset on that goal, that's when you're gonna act, and you love the process. That's the number one thing. I loved working out. Um,
Hmm.
I loved working out, and once I learned how to say no and have that priority in mind, and kind of say no to instant gratification. I could just hang out with them and not put in work, but that was the first step, really, like being aware that you know even though you're sacrificing things now in anything in life, whatever you want, whether it is better finances, better fitness, better physique, whatever, you have to make a sacrifice, and that's going to be um, for me, it was food. It was hanging out with my friends. It wasn't like totally like, zero, but like I knew when to make those decisions because I knew making a sacrifice now is going to give me a better future, and I think when you start to be more aware, because everyone knows that, right? I feel like everyone knows that, you work now and then for a better future. But it's like once you're actually aware of your everyday decisions and you start seeing that okay, am I doing this because I'm trying to run away from something, or am I doing this because I want that dopamine hit, or that instant gratification? Start making more different decisions, for that better future. I think that's really step one, is being aware, and then enjoying the journey and practicing self-discipline as well. I think that's the biggest thing, because when you're aware of like why you're doing certain things, it's easier to say no, and to certain things, and work on yourself, and overall just mastering your mind, the act of saying no. And from there, just always remind yourself what you want, your why, and also what you want your future to be. Okay, so like I'm doing all this hard work right now, like let's say for my coaching business, right? I am doing all this hard work right now, and that is because I know in the future I have this goal of mine. For
Hmm.
people in this journey, it's like, okay, you're gonna do all this work right now, and it might seem like hard work, and saying no to this and this and that, making that sacrifice for that better future. And I think a lot of immigrants do. If you think about this, like people who come in the country, like let's say, like people crossing the river, or whatever, and for these are like good everyday people, and they're like super super nice, and the reason why they do these certain things is because they understand that yes, you might have a first year or two in the country, right? But you want that better life for your kids, and for you, like just for the long term, right? So those 2 years that you're sacrificing, I have a friend, I have a good amount of friends as well, who are immigrants, and pretty much tell me that they used to be sleeping on like their friend's couch for like 2 years as soon as they got here, and from there, like their parents made that sacrifice that first 2 years because they knew that once they're here, they're gonna sacrifice the first 2 years, 1 to 2 years of struggling here, and then they're gonna have a better life after that. I think that's really, really the most important part, and you can apply that in all aspects. Investing your money, not buying those shoes that you really, really want, and then investing your money, and then number two is fitness. Not eating that cake. I think this is really important as well for people who are I know you guys can relate if you are Mexican or like Filipino or whatever, like all that food, really, really good oily food. Saying no to those kind of foods for a better future, for a better, just better fitness in general.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I think it kind of reminds me of the talk that I gave on the Vortex back at the retreat we did a couple months back. And I talked about how getting to your goals is not actually about doing more. It's not actually about how much you do on your plate, but it's more about what you don't do and the decisions you make, the sacrifices you make in order for you to have time to do the things that you want to do. And so where this whole thing of instant gratification, delayed gratification comes in is that you might have to sacrifice some of that instant gratification, like the 2 years in which you're sacrificing comfort for the delayed gratification. But I would argue that that decision is less about what more they can do, but also about what they can give up too.
Mm.
Um, just because I find that people use the excuse of being busy is actually very true. Right? I don't think it's an excuse at all. When people say like I don't have time to do that or I'm busy, like there's a lot on my plate, we as humans, we don't like to be bored, and we will always find something to fill our time no matter what. We will always find something to do. And so when someone says I'm very busy, like I 100% believe that. But if they have a goal to get to a specific, place in life or what kind of sacrifices can I make here in order to make room for the actual goal that I want to hit? For example, with fitness, okay, there's going to be about 2 hours of time in which I need to train and also prep my food.
Yeah.
Right. Well, when people say that they're busy, I really do believe that they don't have the time. And so what they need to do is actually look over their calendar and give themselves a time audit and think, what can I sacrifice here that isn't helping me get to my goals? What instant gratification can I, remove from my calendar to fit in time for this thing that's going to lead me to more fulfillment in the future?
Yeah, exactly. I love that, because I think that's the key. Like, really, like that's pretty much it. Just you see that, you have those times where you're just like scrolling on TikTok, hanging out with people, and yes, you're busy, you're doing that, but it's like, once you kind of see that it are those, like, you start looking at those times in your day, and you start like thinking like, are those times really going to be benefiting my future, my goals, right? And then if it's not, then make that replacement and have that self-discipline to say no, and also to be able to do that. I
Yep.
think the most important thing. But I think this was great, man. Honestly, just talking about this, I think this has pretty much opened a lot of people's eyes and opened my eyes too. Just talking about this with you, seeing your perspective, how it affected your life, just fitness, business, and everything. But besides that, do you want to add anything else, or did you want to plug
Yeah.
this?
I'll condense our thoughts into like a little spark note. I would even go back and to piggyback off of something that you said earlier when
Yeah.
your friends would ask you to go hang out and you used to say, "Oh, I can't because I have to do this thing."
Mm,
Because I used to do the same thing. I used to say, "Oh, I can't do that. I can't do this." But in reality, you and I both know that we very well can. We're just choosing not to, right? If someone says, "Hey, let's go hang out," and I say, "I can't. I got to go to the gym." Well, no, I totally can go hang out, but it's just I want to go to the gym, right?
mm,
I'm choosing this thing instead of that thing. So I kind of break down, you know, delayed gratification is all about, putting off the short dopamine hits that are going to deter you from your goals. And actually, delayed gratification is going to help you, offset that dopamine hit to eventually hit a bigger goal.
mm.
But I actually don't think it's about, you know, offsetting the instant gratification. I think it's about learning to love the process of getting to that bigger goal
Yeah.
and learning how you can get instant gratification from doing the process every single day and making the choices that are going to align with that delayed gratification goal. And if you can do this with your health, with your wealth, and your relationships, I promise you, by the time you're 35, you're going to be one of the happiest people on earth because you have, good health, you have a really awesome bank account, and you have a happy relationship. Whereas some people at 35 are broke, they're out of shape, and they have no long-term relationships. And these are people who are like, when you're 35, you start to see, okay, who has it together and who's falling apart. Don't be the person that's falling apart because you wanted to party and skip out on your workouts and blow all your money and, not commit to a relationship. Be the person who at 35 is going to have all their ducks in a row, have that extreme fulfillment. But in order to get there, learn to love the process and get instant gratification out of what you do every single day to get there.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Awesome, bro. I love that.
Well, I think besides that, I think we're all good, man. If you guys got value from this, I want you guys to follow Zach. He is my coach. He pretty much got me started with my entire fitness business. This whole thing, I would be nothing without him. If I'm being honest, Zach helped me a lot with my life and just with my business in general, and just one of my biggest mentors. And I look up to you, man. Honestly.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right,
Cool,
man. Well,
man.
like that. I'll see you later. Peace.
All right, man. Peace.